Bullet Hell Jam, a game jam where we make chaotic but fun to play games with projectiles, most iconic being from Toho games, where we solve difficult bullet patterns, all the while dodging whatever projectiles are get thrown at us.
The theme for this jam is consequences. So I've had few ideas in mind which I'll put together in godot.com as you can see. So let's get on with some sprite making.
Alright, so these are the sprites I made. So this one is definitely not the enemy, it's gonna be your ally if you choose to. Otherwise, you might just kill it to get off some huge amount of points, but it gives you free heal. So, better keep that in mind. After that, we have the player. This is just an astronaut I made. Very simple enough with a jetpack, alright? Nothing too fancy, but it has a special attack which shoots some kind of projectile. It's called Bullet Hell Jam, but it definitely doesn't have to be a bullet or a laser. It has to be a projectile. So this is a projectile I made, and this is gonna rotate like 90 degrees each frame, and hit the enemy. And this is the enemy. So I know this looks like some kind of angelic demonic vibes. So yeah, I know it looks pretty ugly, but I'm not good at sprite designing anyways. So yeah, so here is the fly animation. I don't know why I gave it wings even though it has a helicopter like thing. So yeah, don't ask why. It's just what it is. But anyway, let's set up our Godot project, alright? So let's do this. Alright, so for the name of this project, I have decided the name of my game should be, let's see. Since I'm using a Torus as my projectile, I'll be naming it Torus Blitz, alright? I might change the name of the game later when I export it, but for now, this will do, alright? So I create a folder and hit create. Alright, now that we created a new scene, I'm gonna go ahead and create an assets folder where I'll put all of my images, alright? And go ahead and copy all of these into my assets folder, alright? And with that, it should get imported.
Alright, I quickly went ahead and made a background image for the start menu and also some UI buttons which we'll use in the game for the start and quit button. So this is what it looks like, alright? Nothing too fancy, but it gets the job done.
Now let's make the player scene so that we can add it to the game. Alright, so here's the player scene, and I added the idle animation, which will be just one image, and an attack animation which does a laser kind of attack, alright? But there's something missing. You see this jetpack? It's not blowing. So what do? Well, I use godot particle system. It's a great system for making beautiful particles, so definitely use it. Alright, so here's the basic player movement script. So if I play the scene, you'll see the player moves around, which is pretty nice. But if you observe, the particles are kind of wobbling around, which is really weird. So we need to fix that. So let's first see if that rotate function works. So I'm gonna rotate it 45 degrees. Play. Oh, okay, that doesn't work. Alright. Okay, it seems we need to put in this code here. When we press the left button, set the rotation -45, and then when we press the right, +45. And if nothing else like up and down is pressed, then we have the default. Right? Now let's play. Boom! It works. Great. Other than the down, I think I'll just keep it like this, alright? I don't want to mess around with too much, so I'll leave it be Alright,
like this.
now it's time to add the projectile. For this, I'm using a Torus sprite which I made in Asprite or Libra sprite, and my goal is to rotate this image whenever we hit the spacebar. Alright, so I created this game manager scene where we'll play the game. Alright, so there is a Torus collection and a player. So I set the player position over here, right? And the Torus collection will have all the Torus that get spawned in when we press the spacebar, alright? Or we can press the left click to spawn in, alright? Now let's go to the script folder, alright? So we need to preload the scene, the Torus scene, and then instantiate over here to create an object. This object then gets added to my Torus collection. It's an empty node, alright? And every time we, press the attack button, or you can say the spacebar or the left click, the Torus scene or the object gets spawned in the position X, and the Y position, which will be a little bit above the player, alright? That's why we subtracted it. So when we play the scene in my game manager, see this, and if I press the spacebar or left click, the Torus spawns in, but it's not rotating or moving forward. So how can we fix that? Well, we'll have to update our script. Make a script in the Torus scene, alright? So basically we need to set the rotation as well as update its position in the y-axis, which shouldn't be hard to do with him. So yeah, let's do this. Alright, so here's the simple script I made in the Torus scene. So we update the position in the y-axis with respect to the speed and the time, and if it goes out of bounds, we delete the Torus. Alright, pretty simple stuff. It's y plane. Alright, now if we go to our game manager and we hit space or right click, or I mean left click, then the laser glows or the Torus goes forward. Alright, it's pretty good, but it's not rotating. So if you remember from our time when we were trying to rotate the player, we got some weird results when we used the rotate function. But this time we can use the rotate function over here. Alright, so we want to rotate this Torus 45 degrees every time it gets spawned in. Alright, so let's go to game manager, and boom, voila, pretty cool, right? Nice. I mean, we could add some glow effect and particle system. Maybe we can add it later on, not now. Alright, but this seems to be good enough for now. Alright, now it's time to add enemies. Okay, there is a really good tutorial by Dan Guru Games, and he made this really awesome bullet hell pattern code which we can use, or I did learn from him. Alright, and it's kind of a complicated math stuff which a little bit I get, and sometimes I don't, because it uses some really complicated math functions. Alright, so yeah, but basically, we have this projectile scene. Alright, we preload it, we instantiate it. When we call upon it, the rotator function will obviously gonna change direction every time. Alright, and based on the direction timer. Alright, so we have a timer of around, I believe it was 0. Let's check over here, 0.2 time between every shot. Okay, now if you look at when we run it, you'll see this pattern. Pretty cool, right? This is exactly what we want. Alright, we can change the pattern over here anytime we want by changing the values.
Alright, so maybe we want to be 300, 200 or something. Let's see what happens. It changed a bit, I guess. I don't know. It's moving a bit straighter. Alright. So yeah, this is what we'll use in our game. So yeah, big thanks to Giguru Games for making such an awesome tutorial. So yeah, do check him out. I'll link him up in the description. So yeah. Okay, so here's my enemy. Alright. Obviously it's gonna be this one. Alright. And we have an animated sprite, obviously. Okay, I know it looks a bit weird, but I couldn't come up with any other design. Anyways, we have the same things, alright? We have the same properties, and I made the spear as my projectile for the enemy because, it has a belly which just kind of looks like a spear, so why not? Obviously, I made it as a sprite, or Libre sprite you might call it, alright? So, yeah. Anyways, I don't think you guys can see the inspector, my bad. But yeah, it's pretty much the same thing I did, alright? And if we run it now, you won't exactly see it. So I'm gonna add a camera 2D and zoom out a little bit so that you guys can see the pattern, alright? Let's make it 0.3, F6. Okay, it's moving down. My bad. Oh, right. That's right. There's one issue with this. Yeah, I better fix this one up here. Okay. It does rotate, which is good. Alright. But, since we are already doing that. Okay, let the speed there. Alright. And we are gonna go ahead and create a timer here. Because we want to know when the lifetime timer, and obviously I'm gonna add a timeout function. Okay, over here we'll do queue free because when the timer runs out we want to free it, right? And do I have this set up? I think so, yeah. Let's check it out now. Okay, it's rotating, which is good, but since we have the rotate function going on, it seems to be causing problems, alright? Yeah, I know. The rotate function does give a lot of weird results, but here we go. Cool, we have a bullet pattern. Well, good luck with dodging these bullet patterns. I'm sure and hell no that you guys will definitely enjoy the hell out of it. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, let's move on to the next part.
Now, let's add the health bar for the player and the enemies. Alright, now for the health bar, I created a health bar system which will be common for both the player and enemies and other enemies that I'll add later on. Alright, so basically it sets the health when this is a setter function. Alright, it sets the health whenever there is a change of health. Alright, at the moment it's set to 0, but in the player, when we import the health bar, right, forget the values here. Alright, it's set to 60 and whatever, but through code we are changing the values here. If you see in the already function, the health is set to 6. I want to change it to 20 because we want the player's health to be a little bit more than the enemy, and the enemies will be 6. Alright, and we instantiate the initial. Alright, and to see this set health, yeah, it goes over here. Alright, and then we initialize it and do stuff, and there's a timer function. Alright, so there will be like a pause between every time a damage is taken by the enemy or the player. Alright, I suppose I should increase the timer in the player because I don't know, takes less damage, right? So we want to make sure that, so that our player doesn't die too quickly from the bullet hell pattern, right? So yeah, anyways, this is the hurt box. Alright, actually, we actually removed that. I was actually encountering a problem with this. Alright, and yeah, we well, someone from Discord helped me out earlier, and yeah, I'm pretty grateful to him for helping me fix this issue. So yeah, for the enemy, we have the set health, set enemy health, alright. And there is, since it's an area 2D node, we have a signal. We click on this. On area entered, we check if the area that hit the area 2D node that hit the enemy, which is Torus, which is also an area 2D, is of the name Torus, and if it is, we decrease the enemy's health, and we call this function to set the updated health. And if the health becomes 0, at the moment we'll just delete the enemy, alright? We'll add a death animation later on, but for now we are just testing it out, alright? Then for the player's case, we won't be using this actually, alright? We can delete this. I was trying to, detect the hurt area 2D from the sphere, but it wasn't working. So we did the opposite. Like, we are detecting it from the enemy's bullet or enemy's projectile, and if the body entered has the method player, alright, I have a player function which only the player has. Alright, if it has, then we decrease the body or the player's dot health by -1 and call this function. Alright, so yeah, that's basically it. And let me show you how it looks like. So we have this going on, and if we get hit by the bullet, you see my health bar is decreasing. And if we shoot my enemy, the enemy's health gets reduced, and it seems we died. Alright. We definitely have to zoom in on the player. Alright, we're gonna do that soon. Alright, but yeah, this is what it looks like at the moment. And yeah, I think since we updated the health and all that, maybe we should go ahead and, improve the graphics a little bit, because the graphics look a little bit dull at the moment. Alright, so let's do that. Alright, so I went ahead and created an environment. It's basically going to be a black background, alright? You might not see it properly, but I have this particle system for that. So what this will do is just go around this path, alright? And if I play it, you'll see it will follow that path and, add some glitters to the scene. I reduced the bullet size a little bit because, those big bullets were kind of hard to dodge around, alright? But yeah, I'm thinking like there will be waves of enemies. So next, what we'll be doing is adding spawn points for our enemies, alright? They will be randomly spawning on the top of the screen, and will come down. So yeah, that's basically it. So alright, so I made a spawner. Okay, so this is my enemy spawner scene, which is just an empty node, but it's only there for the purpose of spawning. So it doesn't really have to have anything. Yeah, I know I could have made it over in the game manager, but just wanted to make it there. Alright, maybe we can use it somewhere else too, maybe we can spawn some other enemies. So yeah, anyways, so basically I have a timer, and every 5 seconds, I think it should be 5, and we can at the game manager, because since we are including enemy spawner in the game manager, we are able to add a child or get the parent, which is basically the game manager, and then its child, enemy collection to add to the enemies that are spawning. Alright, and after that I created a fire explosion thingy. It kind of looks like this. Alright, so every time the enemy explodes or its HP goes down, it will explode, basically indicating that it's dead. Right, so anyways, let's go ahead and run this up and show you what I've made. Alright, the enemies will spawn from above. Alright, here we go. I'm just gonna spam my attack here, all the while dodging these bullets. Right, kind of hard to keep track of, not gonna lie. I don't know how. And there you have it. The enemy exploded. Yahoo! Okay. Oh, what's this? Enemy health bar is equal to health. Okay. I think we need to fix this issue. Let me do that. Okay, so the mistake I made was clearly because in the kill function over here, which I made in the enemy sprite, I queued freed the sprite but not the enemy itself, which is a big issue. Alright, so I'm gonna cut that and put it over here. Alright, so the whole enemy will get deleted, and now I don't think the issue should persist because it was taking in the health record from the after defeating it. Alright, so yeah, let's test it out and see if that solves the issue. Alright, come on. I think I made the HP of my enemies too high, but hey, yeah, it worked. Now there are no errors. Pretty good. Maybe I'll add an explosion effect for my player, but that I'll do with the sprite animation. Alright, so yeah. Alright, now I made a healer. Alright, and this healer will basically heal you. Alright, and if you kill him, you'll get some good amount of points, but at a consequence of the bullets getting bounced back. Alright, I have made the healing part. Alright, just call the body health function and set the player health, but for some reason I'm not able to bounce back the bullets because it's an area 2D, right, and area 2D doesn't have this bounce back function. I think it was catch the body 2D. I think the Torus has to be catch the body 2D for it to bounce, but I made so much with just the area 2D that I don't want to change it, so I'm gonna try and figure it out. Alright, but at the moment, you see, it will be part of the enemy spawner. Like I said, I made the spawner node like this so that I can spawn other things. Alright, so yeah, these are the enemies. Losing my health here, and if I interact with them, I will recover plus 5 health, which is pretty good. Right? That's about it actually. So I'm gonna try figure out how I can bounce back bullets because I'm not able to, even though I change the position like this. And if I change the position like this, maybe it might work, but I want to go towards the player itself. So like nothing happened. Very unfortunate. Anyway, let's figure it out. Alright, so I was able to make it bounce back. Alright, I forgot that I created a healer is angry variable, which checks if the healer is angry, and if it's angry, we want to, reverse the position here. Alright, and then right, we are not queue freeing it, that's the problem. Right, I'm gonna queue free it over position.y is greater than my window size is around 648. Right? Great. Actually, it should be or. Right? No way that one body can be in two different positions at once. Anyways, that will queue free it, but if it hits the Torus, I wanna check for that. Right? So I'm gonna create a simple signal here. Right? This signal will, my bad, should be body. I mean, because we're dealing with a character body 2D. So body enter. If body enter, name is equal to here, then we want to decrease the player's health by, I'd say, minus 10, because that would be a negative consequence, right? And I'm sure the player will be able to dodge it, but still, adds to the challenge a little bit. I want you guys to observe it, right? So when we hit the enemy, or rather the ally over here, it's at the moment happy. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I think I should zoom in a little bit. Alright. Okay, so I hit the ally and boom, it bounces back and hits me back with, and I lost like 10 HP, which is pretty negative consequences if I say so myself. So yeah.
Alright, I went ahead and added sound to the game, right? It was a little bit difficult to do because, whenever something dies, like a player or the healer, the animation doesn't play. So I had to use the await function to let the animation finish first and then queue free the object, right? And in case of player, it was showing some kind of health bar issue, so I queued free the health bar itself when it dies, so that the death animation plays, and when the death sound actually finishes, we queue free it. Don't have a death animation though. Maybe we should make that for the player. Let's do that pretty quickly. Okay, for the player death animation, I just gave it the enemy sprite script so that I can call upon the death animation particle effect, which you saw when I kill an enemy. So I also added this attack animation as well. Okay, and now the sound is working. Sometimes it doesn't take damage because of the timer, alright? But yeah, maybe I'll fix it later on. Who knows? Yeah. So when the player dies, this is what happens. Haha. I know I'm pretty lazy to make the death animation for the player, but I just wanna reuse the death particle over and everywhere else as well. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. Alright, after that I added two new bullets, the haste bullet and the poison bullet. What each of these will do is basically, these are kind of like effects, like either power-ups or downgrades, you might say. The haste is a power-up but has a consequence of spawning more bullets in the current pattern. And for the poison, the player's speed is decreased. So let's see, by default I think the player's speed is 300, so we are decreasing that by 150. Alright, so I said 500, right? Yeah, I think no, it was 300. And for the haste,
the speed is increased like 500. Alright, the speed is set to 500. After that, for the enemy, well, basically we are just accessing the enemy. The enemy is from the emission, alright, and then we change the spawn count of the bullets by varying amounts. So anyways, let's test this out. And over here, let's wait a while. Alright, here we go. If we take the haste bullet, my speed increases, right? But the patterns aren't getting complex, which is kind of weird, not gonna lie. And then after I hit this one, my speed becomes normal. Okay, we need to fix this actually, right? So is it actually working, right? Let's check this out. I wonder if the emission is actually working right. No, it's not working. That's weird. Okay, I've come to a solution known as function override. Alright. So since we are using the ready function to set up everything, I've created a separate method or a function to create new spawn points. Alright. And over here I'm gonna create all the new spawn points. And whenever we want to create new spawn points, when certain blitz hits the player, I'll call this function and set the value of how many nodes I want to spawn, right? So with that one, it should be working. Okay, if you get hit by a poison bullet, the pattern changes. If you get hit by the haste bullet, the pattern becomes a little bit hard, I would say. Right? Probably undodgeable, or maybe it is dodgeable, but hey, it should be easy, I guess. I don't know. I think the game is kind of glitching because of all the particles being handled. That's kind of an issue, but hey, this is bullet hell world, so of course it will involve a lot of particles. Well, anyways, that's about it. Now let's go ahead and add some music to the game. Okay, so I used beatbox to make a simple music for the game. It's not a complex one, okay? This thing will be looping, and yeah, I imported it into the game, and now, well, okay, I've added everything. I made a separate music for the main menu and created a simple explanation screen. Alright, so anyways, alright, I uploaded my game on itch.io, right? And it's a submission to Bullet Hell Jam 5, alright? So Well, anyways, that's about it. I will link the game in the description of my video. And it's not a good game, but still, it was my first game in godot. So yeah, I will try to make better games in the future. But anyways, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video, I guess, whenever I'm joining another jam. So yeah.